Welcome to Sunday worship at our First Unitarian Universalist Society of Burlington, Vermont. Today is Sunday, September 19th, 2021. Let us together acknowledge that the land on which we are located is the unceded territory of the Western Abnaki peoples, and we are its current grateful stewards. I am Melinda Lee, a member of our worship associate team. Creators of our Sunday worship today are the Reverend Patricia Hart, our Ministerial Intern Rowan van Ness, the Reverend David Ruffin, Director of Youth and Creative Arts Ministries, Director of Music James Stewart, musician Sam Weitzel, and our incredible technological team who are live streaming this service, Woody Fulton, David McFeeters, and James Stewart. Today, our service includes children and families who are outside our meeting house right now. An entertainer called the Big Blue Trunk is there along with coffee and treats and a gathering for parents. To help you participate in this service today, later on, could you take a moment to find a cup or a bowl and a separate container holding a small amount of water and place them near you. We are about to begin. Whether you are new today or regular attenders and members, you are welcome here. Whether you are present in or near our meeting house, or far afield joining us through the World Wide Web, you are welcome here. Come, welcome. It is good to worship together. Let us recite our chalice lighting words. We kindle this chalice flame to remind ourselves of the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment.
Good morning. Our call to worship today comes from the Reverend Nancy Schaefer. This writing, it comes from her book, Instructions in Joy, which is one of my favorite of the meditation manuals. Tell me, did you really rest? You who made day and night and sky that separated waters above and below, and then made sun and moon and stars, who made birds fly and everything that swims, and cattle and creeping things, and then made man and woman, and finally, supposedly, rested. Tell me, how in the midst of all that buzzing and flapping and the slithering, all that bursting forth of leaf and fruit and stem that had never known themselves before, tell me, how could you possibly have rested? After seeing what no one had ever seen before, beak, hoof, pebble, after losing yourself in 1,000 versions of blue, water and sun, sky against sky, didn't you long to caress each small thing? Notice how toes work, and stamens, and fingers? Weren't you hollering out in amazement? Weren't you so filled up glad you couldn't sleep? Weren't you hollering out in amazement? Weren't you so filled up glad you couldn't sleep? Come, let us worship together.
Good morning. Our opening song is Come, Come, Whoever You Are, words by Rumi and music by Lynn Unger. Hope you'll join in at home. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Once more together. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
Thank you, David and Sam, for those wonderful welcoming words and music. For our meditation today, we will have our joys and sorrows for this week, followed by a time of silence. Please take a moment to find a small stone or a shell or an object and place it near you for later on. Sorrow. In Afghanistan, in the last days of the U.S. presence there was a drone attack by the U.S. military that killed a large, innocent family in Kabul by mistake. Sorrow. A friend, Kate, who has a small child and a recent diagnosis of breast cancer. And for me, a great personal joy. I had a warm reunion with my niece, Nina, after 20 long years of estrangement. So please now, it's your turn to hold a stone or a shell or your small object and think or speak aloud of your own joy, your sorrow, and your concern. And may the joys and sorrows and concerns of each of us be those of all of us, reminding us of our shared humanity. Now for a moment of silence together.
This morning, we have a reading that was written by the UUs of Puerto Rico for a water communion in 2018. It's called Blending Our Waters.
We bring our waters, which have touched the west, the north, the south, the east, which come from the sky, the surface of the earth, from deep wells and springs beneath the earth.
We bring water that belonged to lakes, streams, and reservoirs, of fresh water that quench our thirst.
We bring water that is part of the great oceans and the seas that circle the globe, teeming with life, the source of all life. We bring water to this place of meeting and sharing.
In this water, there is new life, formed in the atmosphere daily. There is old water, water as old as the earth, water from which life has evolved over the eons.
This is a stream of life from which all life flows. All people are connected by this stream, for it runs through our veins and arteries, courses through the stems and leaves of plants.
It is the symbol of the cleansing power of forgiveness and the faithful promise of healing love. It is the symbol and the reality of the oneness that unites humankind and all life.
Today, we bring water
To give back to the earth,
to mingle with all the waters of the earth and join all living things,
today we pour water,
to honor the earth that gives us life,
to honor the community of all life, plants, animals, and people.
Today we offer thanks for the gift of water and also for the web of life we all share, near and far.
May our separate waters join into one sacred stream as we add our lives into the stream of living souls who live out love, work for justice, and hunger for peace. Today's offering will be shared with CASAN, the Chittenden Asylum Seekers Assistance Network. We warmly welcome your gifts. with gratitude and with microphone, we dedicate these gifts in the service of our mission to inspire spiritual growth, care for each other and our community, seek truth, and act for justice. As you know, we are doing this service live stream right now, and Reverend Tricia is just coming in to give us her homily. She has been outside with the children doing the water ritual and now is going to join us for her homily.
So here's what I said to the people outside. We have never, ever tried to do this before, and we clearly don't entirely know how to time it. But just to give you a sense, those of you who are watching, of what's happening here, because it's a lot, there's a crowd of people outside, some we know, some we don't, and they're all wearing masks, so I'm not entirely sure whether I know some of them. There are grown-ups, there are kids. The big blue trunk equipment is being set up. There's water happening. And David, I am going to have a job for you, because after they put some water together, we need to bring some in so that we can have it here. So, yes, it's a very exciting day. And I'm so glad, deeply grateful to Rowan and to Melinda and to Sam and to David and to James and to Woody for making all of this happen. So just a little background and thinking about water communion. Where did water communion come from? Did we make it up? You know, Unitarian Universalists, we ask that sometimes, and most of the time the answer is no, we didn't make it up. In this case, the answer is yes. And if you were here last year, you might remember that I talked to you about what was going on in Unitarian Universalism in the mid to late 1970s, when Unitarian Universalism was very young. The merger had just happened in 1961. And women in particular, who had always been important parts of Unitarianism and Universalism, got together and began to notice that this new reality in the world of Unitarian Universalism looked a whole lot like the way things used to be. Particularly that there was a lot of tradition, it dated from who knew when, there was a lot of patriarchy, there was a lot of sexism, and there was kind of an assumption that religion is about intellect. It's about interesting ideas. And they said, these women said, this isn't good enough for our new religion. We need something which is of the body as well as of the mind. We need something that includes women as well as men. We need something which, in fact, welcomes everybody, no matter who they are or where they are. So they decided to challenge Unitarian Universalism, and they created a conference in the late 1970s. It was organized by Carolyn McDade, who has written many of the songs that we know and love, including Spirit of Life, and Lucille Longview, and they made this conference happen. And they wanted a ritual in it that, this is a quote, that spoke to our connectedness with one another, to the totality of life, and to our place on this planet. They wanted it as a recognition that Unitarian Universalism encompasses the whole world, all of life. And so they asked 8 women who were coming from distant places to bring water from those places, from the Rio Grande, from Texas and Mexico, from the Assiniboine River in Western Canada, rainwater from Maryland, water from the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Oceans. They wanted to bring that water from those places, not just because those particular places were important to individuals or because they'd traveled there, but as a sign that our faith tradition is broad and open enough to welcome people everywhere. It's about celebrating our connection. So that was the beginning of water communion. And like all good symbols, the meanings that Unitarian Universalist congregations have found in water communion just keep deepening and growing. The reading that Rowan and Melinda did from the UUs of Puerto Rico, which is the same reading that Erica and Margot did outside, is about how water, here comes water from outside, thanks, wait a minute. Erica said it was going to be brown because it was going to be different colors, but it's a beautiful green. Isn't that wonderful? The reading talks about the fact that the water in the world is the water in the world, and it's the same water. It comes and it goes, it evaporates, it rains, it freezes. It's in us, it's in the air, it's in the trees. And when we put water together, brought from different places by different people, we are reminding ourselves that, in fact, we are already all connected. All water is water. All of it is precious and essential and part of us. Unitarian Universalist congregations around the country are finding ways this fall to make water communion happen. Some outside, some inside with a few people or a lot of people, some in person, some online. There's a lot of creativity and generosity that is being demonstrated in our UU congregations. And maybe someday we'll have the time and energy to collect all of those ideas. Right now, we're all making it up as we go along. One of the wonderful things, one of the wonderful creations that has been made up, this one in Brooklyn, I am going to ask you, David, to do a little bit of this. There is, you can find it, and we'll put a link to it on the website too. But David's going to give you a little taste of it. This is the choir from the First Unitarian Church of Brooklyn, New York. Their water communion actually last year, and they sang a version of a song that is everywhere this week, I think, Bring Me a Little Water, Sylvie. And you know this song, maybe you don't know that you know it, it's a Lead Belly song, but David's gonna sing a little bit for us.
All right. Can you catch me over here? So I learned this one from Moira Smiley. I think I'm saying her name right. She's a Vermont native, I think maybe Chalice originally, real close.
Wow.
So anyway, it goes like this. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Bring me little water now. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while. Give it to you one more time. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Bring me little water now. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while.
Nice. Thank you, David. I told you knew that song. So it is hard not to be together on this day, more than many other days, when the imagination of those of you who've been here before is people coming forward from the pews with their little jam jars full of water, or maybe some water from their water bottle. And gradually the bowl fills with water. That is the sign of this congregation's energies and passions and hopes and wishes mixing. So I want you to do some imagining in your lives. So they've been asked to maybe bring some water. Is that right? Okay. And maybe a bowl, maybe a cup, however you'd like to have your water. And what we were asking people from outside was to think of one wish, one hope, one imagination that they were daring to have, are daring to have about this world and about this year and about this congregation. So what do I want to invite you to do, and Sam is going to play a little watery music in a minute so that'll help as I'm pouring water in the bowl. What I want you to do is speak your hope, your wish, your prayer to yourself, to the person you're sitting next to the air, to the world, to God, to the universe. But speak it out loud. It's powerful if we speak it out loud. Let us pour our waters together. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Rowan and Melinda and David. You may have noticed that we put some of the stones of hope and joy and sorrow and healthy anger, put it right here in the mingled waters of this congregation. And now, perhaps a bit out of order, the offering, which we take up every week to remember. Is it already done? You guys are way too fast. Okay, it's all done. I won't do it again. You never know, you might get double. Our tradition is not one that sends the basket around twice, but you never know. You never know. Could be good. So I think we've got you, David.
think the idea is if you're inspired to give at any time, though, you're always welcome to. We're going to close out this morning with Martha Sandeffer's beautiful hymn song, We Are Building a New Way, and I do hope you'll join Sam and I at home. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, the world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building. We are building. We are building a new way.
We extinguish this chalice flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with the world until we are together again. As our Unitarian Universalist cousins in Puerto Rico said in the reading, today we offer thanks for the gift of water and for the web of life we all share, near or far. May our separate waters join into one sacred stream as we add our lives into the stream of living souls who live out love, work for justice, and hunger for peace. Remember your prayer, your wish, your hope. Let that be what you bring into this stream of souls we make together. Go in peace.